Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim Sudano, your favorite paranormal investigator. This next episode is from 2023 and features Tommy Cullum, a fellow podcaster of the paranormal. And he has some amazing experiences that kind of led him to start talking about it and talking with others about it on his podcasts. Yeah, enjoy the show. Tommy's a great guest. You're really going to enjoy it. And he has a fantastic show as well. So, without further ado, Mr. Tommy Cullum. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Paranormal Insight. My name is Tim Sudano, and with me tonight is the host of Let's Get Freaky, Tommy Cullum. Welcome, Tommy.
Hi guys, thank you very much for having me, man. Very
Not at
excited
all.
to be here.
The pleasure is ours, I assure you. When I reached out to you initially, actually, you reached out to me after I commented on something you posted.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was the Yuri Gellin post you had, which was amazing. The one of the things I wrote back to you though was that I want to get your not only your experiences in the paranormal, but your take over time since doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I did this with Eric Salaji a while back, but this is kind of an ongoing thing. I'm going to try and get as many podcast hosts as I can and see, has their opinion changed, what changed, what didn't, and all that fun stuff. So first off, let me ask you what was your first what first grabbed you when it came to the paranormal?
I mean, with the paranormal, it's something that's fascinated me since I was a child, all my life. It's something, I find it amazing. Everything, ghosts, cryptids, always have the Loch Ness Monster. Ever since I was a kid, it all fascinated me. And it's always been there for me. Like, I've always loved it. I've had experiences when I was younger. And yeah, as I've grown up, it's just something I wanted to explore even more. And yeah, I can't get enough of it. I find it fascinating.
So tell me about your first paranormal experience.
So growing up, I was always scared of the dark as a kid. So I think I've always had, since I can remember, since being a tiny baby, I've always been a bit scared of the dark. And I've always had feelings that there's something else there. I've always had that. Still do now. It still freaks me out. But my first biggest experience that I can remember was when I was 10 years old. Me and my brother shared a room. And we lived in a haunted house when we were kids. Like, the house was haunted.
Hold on. You knew for
Yeah.
sure it was haunted.
Yeah, I mean, at the time we didn't talk about it too much. Obviously, me and my brother, we were young.
Okay.
But it was the classic haunted house, always weird noises,
Really?
weird vibes, things used to go missing. I can remember my mum and dad talking about it when we was kids, and we all knew that there was a side to this. I mean, we had some good times in the house, don't get me wrong, but there was also times that were weird in that house. Like, I never used to like being on my own in the house. I remember when I was about 10 years old, and I had a day off sick from school, and the school was right next to the house, and my mum was like, yeah, literally 2 minutes from the
That's
house.
amazing.
Yeah, I was still late. Nearly every day. But I remember this one day, I was at home. I was off school, sick. Well, I probably wasn't too sick, but my mum let me have the day. And I remember she said, "I'm going to go and pick up your brother. I'm going to leave you here for 5 minutes. You can even look out the window and you can see me you can see me if you need me." It was that close.
Gotcha.
But I just remember being terrified to be on my own in that house. That stayed in me, that fear. You just felt like there was something watching you there all the time. It was always a weird vibe.
Okay.
But I had a big experience when I was 10 years old. Me and my brother shared a room, and we had bunk beds, and I was on the top bunk. And I remember waking up one night, and you used to get the street lights coming in, so you could see, even when all the lights were off and even when the curtains were shut, you could still see you could see pretty well the room. You could still see where everything was, and we had Fred Flintstone curtains, so I can still remember just seeing Fred Flintstone and Barney Rubble looking at me every night. One night I've woken up, and it was during the night. I'm not sure what time. It was late. My mum and dad were in bed. It was the whole house was dark, and I remember looking down at my desk and seeing a man sitting there, full-bodied. He was just there, and he was just sort of sitting at the desk, looking sort of in my direction, and it terrified me. It obviously, I was a young boy. There's a man sitting there.
Yeah.
I screamed for my mum. And he was like, he looked like, I always say when I explain it, to me, he looked like William Shakespeare. That's the look.
Was he dressed like that?
Yeah. He had long hair. He had a bit of a beard, and he just looked like he was from that era.
Oh, crazy.
That's how, yeah. And obviously my mum's come in, calmed me down. She couldn't see him, but he was still there. He was still sitting there.
Wait, he was still sitting there when mom came in?
Yeah,
Ooh.
He didn't go. And he's there. I didn't get out of the bed, but I was like, he's there. I could see she's gone over to him, feeling around. He didn't move. And she's calmed me down. I was hysterical. And I've got to tell you, I was quite a bad sleeper when I was a kid. Like, I would get up quite a lot during the night because I used to get scared in the house. And I used to want to be in my mum and dad's room. So quite a lot of the time, I think it was a bit of an issue for my mum and dad that I used to do this. So they made a point of, no, you're staying in your room. My mum made me stay in the room that night. And to this day, she still says sorry about it because we spoke about it recently. But yeah. So
stay in your haunted room, Thomas.
I had to stay in my haunted room. Yeah. And
probably use the full name too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. When I'm naughty, it's Thomas, 100%. Still to this day.
All right.
But yeah, she made me stay in my bed. She went out the room. This guy never left the whole night. So I just remember going under my covers. My brother slept through this somehow as well. You know, he's got no.
He slept through the whole thing, even with you screaming your head.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's still like that now. He'll sleep through anything, my brother. But so I was under the covers all night, sweating. I just remember being terrified all night, not really sleeping, and every now and again I'd look, and he was still there.
Man. That is freaking me out.
And it's making me go funny thinking about it because I can still see
same here. That's just amazing.
And yeah, it obviously it stayed with me forever. Obviously,
well, he stayed anyway.
He stayed, yeah. But after that night, obviously in the morning, I woke up. He wasn't there.
Okay.
In the morning, and I never saw him again.
Oh, interesting. We had a similar experience.
Yeah. So it was very like your experience when you was young.
That's amazing. But some guy from the 15th, 16th century was just pondering at your.
Yeah.
How old's your house?
So the house wasn't that old. I don't know when it was built, but it wasn't. It was quite a modern house. It was right next to a graveyard. So you had the school. You had the school one side, and then the other side was a graveyard.
Okay.
So and then a bit of a forest behind it as well. But
and a forest.
So could there be something? Yeah, it had everything, man.
Graveyards and forests, man. You're in a nice hot spot. Go ahead.
Yeah. But we did know that the man that the lady that we bought the house off, her husband died in the house. Obviously, he wasn't from that era, but
just gonna say.
So I don't think that was the guy, but I don't know. But wow. Yeah, man, it was. And that once you have an experience like that, as you know yourself, like you know that there's more. You know, and that was
whether you want to or not.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was terrifying. It really, and it stayed. I can still see it now, like clearly. But it wasn't see-through. It wasn't, he didn't glow or anything like that. He was just literally a man was in the room.
Wow, that is very much, very I can't talk. I'm so sorry. I'm flabbergasted by this whole thing. But that is very similar. You and I have very similar experiences.
Yeah.
Solid individual. Do you know the age of this person by chance?
So just I guess I would say 30s, 40s. I
Okay.
mean, that's just a guess. I don't know, but he really, to me, I've always called him William Shakespeare. I don't think it was William Shakespeare, but it just looked like when I see a picture of William Shakespeare now in the books and stuff, it just takes me straight back to that
Gotcha.
man. But I don't think it was William
Right,
Shakespeare.
right,
But
right.
it just,
But I mean,
yeah,
what else you gonna call a guy who dresses like that?
that's it. That's it.
Okay, so wow, great, amazing, and frightening first experience. That must have,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah,
can imagine that would set you back emotionally a little bit. And I,
yeah,
shoot, man, even at 10, I'd want to crawl in my parents' room too.
yeah.
Nope.
But
Now, but they,
now
okay.
I still now don't like the dark that much. Like
Oh,
I obviously I sleep in the dark, but if I'm staying in a hotel or something and I'm on my own, I always leave the telly on, and I think I put it back to that. It still stayed with me. Like I think,
mm.
obviously I've had other experiences as well since, but that that was the start.
Did the house ghosts or what have you do anything else to you or your family while you were there that
I don't
stands out?
I don't think my mum and dad say they didn't see anything there. It was
Okay.
just a feeling that they got. And we never spoke about it when we was there, really. It's when we left that house that my dad was like, I'm glad we got out of there because there was something weird about it. And we
Oh,
was there
gosh.
for a few years. We was
Hmm.
there for a few years. And as I say, we had good times there. But um, yeah, there was just something you'd hear strange noises all the time and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
know my mum and dad experienced that, but they didn't see anything. In that same room, my brother saw something very strange.
What did he say?
This is a different time, but in the same room, he woke up one night and saw, he says, two red eyes looking at him and then moving towards him.
Oh, dude, I've heard that before. I've heard that not at your house, obviously, but
Yeah.
that happened without giving too much away. Are you near the name of the church? I want to say St. Augustine, but I can't be wrong. I could be wrong. Um, it's it's well outside of London. I don't know how close you are to London.
But at the time, this house wasn't far from London at all. It was
Okay. Well, there was
uh,
I think it was a church or maybe the rectory specifically where that happened. Someone, a priest had died, and I guess it was investigated at one point or another. And I think this is 70s, 80s when it was finally investigated. And that's what happened. These red eyes just kind of opened and started floating toward, man,
yeah.
gee.
Yeah, man, scary stuff. Like, I know and my brother, if you meet my brother now, he's the opposite to me. Like he's had experiences, which I say to him, I don't know how you can still question this, but he is very, he's he's very critical thinker. He doesn't he will always find, like he still doesn't say that was definitely a ghost,
Right.
But to me, I say I don't know how you can say that's not
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
experience something like
When
that.
eyes
And
come floating at you, dude, I think you have to like, have a little
yeah,
acceptance there.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
it presents right in front of you, and I tell
yeah,
people all the time, they ask me because, you meet people on this out the conventions or whatever, and you say you're a paranormal investigator, and they say, "Oh, you believe in that?" I said, "No, I've seen it." you know,
yeah. I know it.
no,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah, I don't need to believe in it. I've seen this stuff for myself.
yeah,
It's I
yeah.
can't
That's the
disprove
thing.
my own eyes.
Yeah,
It wasn't an hallucination. I don't drink, smoke, or do drugs. I'm a really boring individual. Uh, so in that respect, I'm not the party guy. Um, but yeah, I mean, how can you deny something that happens to you right there? And
yeah,
when my experience happened with the ghost, I was 3. You could watch that, say, oh, you had a weird bad dream. Well, the bad dream got in my face. Anyway, I could go over that a few. Same thing with you though. You were 10.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
past that little kid phase. Yes, you're
Yeah.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
child, but you're ebbing into young adulthood, and your mind's you're not conjuring
Yeah.
up weird things in your head unless you're hyper imaginative child. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
you seem
I
pretty
mean,
down to earth right now, so I'm going to say no.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it definitely wasn't a dream. I know
Yeah,
that
oh
for
yeah,
sure
you don't,
because
especially when mom comes in and waves her hand through the guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I and it
Mm,
lasted. I mean, if I'd woken up, seen him, and then it disappeared straight away,
right.
maybe you could say you was dreaming. But the fact that I see him all night, for me,
All
you know,
night he hung
it
out
was
with you in a
he stayed.
repose,
Yeah,
just
yeah. He
thinking
didn't.
about something.
Yeah. I don't know what he was thinking about. He didn't change his position all night. I didn't even see him blink, but he
I
was
don't understand.
there,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because we spoke a little bit about is that just a trapped energy? Are you seeing a moment in time? I
Possibly.
don't know, but it's so interesting, man.
Well, I mean, given that you were next to a graveyard, maybe that's the case. I mean, spirits wander. They don't
Yeah,
wander far, and sometimes they do. I mean, it depends also. There's if there's enough spiritual energy, or so the study says, of my feet, paranormal investigation, that if there's enough energy around, spiritual energy counts, as you're right next to a graveyard, you
yeah,
could generate these entities and these images. And a lot of folks, it's hard to explain, but the running theory is that a ghost, if you want to call them that, entity, spirit, what have you, um is like a snapshot of who we were just after death. And
interesting.
this person died probably around the age you said, 30, 40, 35, let's call it. And that's how you remember yourself. You've probably seen yourself in a reflection somewhere, so you have a good self-image.
Yeah, man,
And
I didn't think of it like that.
yeah, it's like that's how, and that's also, it's been also called the hard light theory, where ghosts can actually touch you or speak because they're forming kind of like a hologram in Star Trek. Don't sue me, Paramount. But
That's
like
interesting.
yeah. So it's just coupled built light based on our cognitive snapshot of ourselves.
Yeah, I've never heard that. That is very interesting, man. Yeah.
So it's your interview though. So let's go back to you.
So I saw something else in that house as well, which
Okay.
was very strange as well. So I used to go and play in my mum and dad's room quite a lot when I was a kid. And this was after I'd seen the man. So I don't know what I was doing in their room, but I was messing about. I don't know what I
Right.
was doing. I just remember they had mirrors in their room and I was probably dancing around or something, being silly, whatever I was doing.
Right.
And then I saw a naked lady walk past me.
Okay.
Uh, it wasn't uncommon at the time for my mum to do stuff like that and be walking around the house naked.
Okay.
So it wasn't too strange.
Mm-mm.
A blonde lady walked past me naked. I just thought it was my mum. But I've seen her walk past me and go into the bathroom, the ensuite that they had in their room.
Mm.
So I'm just messing about, whatever I was doing. And I just stopped. I've gone, Mum, because she just walked past me. I've walked into the bathroom. I've got Mum, walked in. She's not in there.
Man.
And I just remember just being so confused as a kid. And I was like, what? I ran downstairs. My mum was there, fully clothed, thankfully. And I said, I just saw you walk past me naked in your bedroom. And she
Yeah.
was like, no.
Wasn't me.
And it was, again, it was a solid form. Now this was sort of more in the corner of my eye,
Right.
but I definitely saw it and heard it and felt it. It was
Did you feel
someone walked
the
past me.
rumble of the footsteps on the floorboards
Yes,
and
it was
whatever?
just
Yeah, yeah.
someone walked past me, and it was was just like, Mum. I just remember walking in there trying to talk to her, no answer. Walked into the bathroom, she wasn't there, and I just remember
Crazy.
just being like
Oh,
so confused. So
oh,
that was another thing I saw in that house.
that's crazy. Not you're crazy. The situation's
Yeah,
crazy.
nah, I'm crazy too.
So you have these haunted experiences in your home, and you move a little bit after that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
any of these experiences follow you?
So we moved out of that house when I was 12. So the weird thing is, I was always, and I remember this very clearly as a kid, I was always quite scared, as I said, in the room, always nervous of the dark, always felt like there was something there.
Mm.
The first night in our new house, I remember sleeping in the bedroom and I had my own room in this house, and the lights were all off, and I just remember laying in bed, just feeling safe,
Oh,
and it was just really strange. Like I just remember thinking, like, I should be scared now,
ah,
and I wasn't, and I mean, I did have nights where I got a bit scared in that house. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, that vibe didn't follow. I
gotcha.
don't think to the next house.
That's good. That's that's always nice.
Yeah,
A little bit of
yeah,
peace for at least a little while. Now did you
yeah.
stay there the rest of your days, or
So that house was recently sold by my dad. I've not lived there for a few years, but
okay?
it's gone now. But there was a few things that happened in that house, but nothing bad. Or I think when my dog passed away,
Hmm.
and this was an experience my brother had after my dog passed away. You used to hear him still running around the house.
Oh, that happened with my cat? Yeah, my cat used to jump up on my bed.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
And it
yeah.
scared the crap out of me.
That's exactly what used to happen to my because our old dog Stan, he used to like sleeping in between your legs.
Yeah.
So my brother heard him run up the stairs, and this is my brother that's still, I'm not too sure,
How can
heard
you
him run up the
deny it?
stairs.
Okay,
I
sorry. Go
know,
ahead.
I know. That's what I say. And he felt him jump on his legs and
Oh,
could feel him between his legs. And I said, how can you question that now?
yeah,
Like,
man.
and he's still like, I don't know, am I just overthinking? I'm like, no, like if you felt that happened,
Yeah,
and if
man.
you hurt, it's but yeah,
Oh, that's. I think it's cool when pets. It scared the crap out of me the first time it happened, but she didn't. She only did it for like maybe. I only felt her do it for a couple 3 nights, and
okay,
then after that,
interesting.
it didn't happen, and I actually missed it. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. Because
so
I've heard it's like a way of them saying goodbye. I
yeah,
mean, I don't know if
they
that's
go through the routine. Yeah,
they're letting you know that they're all right, they're on the other side, and then
yeah.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, that was a cool experience on my part. And your brother just flabbergasted me that he doesn't
Yeah, he's
he
still.
won't cotton to it, you know.
I think he does. I think he does
But
believe that
out
there's
loud,
more.
he's gonna say he doesn't.
Yeah, and
Okay.
it scares him a little bit, I think,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's why he's the opposite to me in that sense. So
Gotcha. Doesn't have a podcast.
he's like, nah, not yet.
Okay, so a couple of nice experience, or very few, if any, experiences in the new place. Um, your current house, where you're at right now, any problems or?
um, no bad feelings here.
Good.
I've had a couple of experiences here, or quite a few experiences actually.
Okay.
I've seen shadow figures in this house for sure.
Don't get me started on Shadow. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, if I tell, actually, I say this, my first shadow figure experience that was terrifying was in the house that I've just said nothing bad happened in.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, thinking back now,
Uh,
I did have an experience in that house that was not. So we moved. Me and my brother, we had our own rooms in that house.
yeah.
But for the last few years, my dad had a loft conversion, and me and my brother basically had our own upstairs. So we had our own bathroom, we had our own dressing room, and
The old term
our
for it
own
was a
bedroom.
rumpus room.
Yeah, 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 that's it. So we were back sharing a room again, me and my brother, and it was quite nice. Like we was a bit older, and me and my brother are very close as well. So it
Nice.
was we get on well. Um, and I went to university, And so I wasn't always at home, but I used to come back. I'm a bit of a homeboy, so I used to come back every weekend, stay at home. It was only in London, the university, so it wasn't far from where I lived anyway.
Oh, okay, excellent.
So it was, yeah, a quick train journey. But so I'm sleeping again one night, and I woke up, and there was a man standing over my bed,
Oh,
blacker than
dude.
the room, blacker than the room, and I couldn't see any facial features. It was just a black outline of a man, and I just remember I was terrified,
Yeah.
and I just thought it was my brother messing about. Why he's looking at me in the middle of the night, I don't know, but I've took a swing at it.
Oh,
Just thinking it's my brother. Took a swing and it's disappeared. I obviously made a bit of a noise when I'd done this because my brother on the other side of the room turned the light on and said, "Tom, you all right? Are you all right?" And I was like, "I thought you were standing over me. There was someone standing over me."
oh,
And it definitely, yeah, I woke up to that and it freaked me out massively. And at the time, I didn't know anything about shadow figures. This is going back to, so I was 21. So this is like
yeah.
15, 16 years ago. So I didn't know anything about shadow figures, didn't know anything, at all about it.
Wow.
So at the time, I just put it down to being stressed. I said I must have just been stressed. I was at university, so I was
Yeah.
having a few beers. So
Yeah.
the day before, I put it down to that. So sort of it stayed with me because it was terrifying.
Right.
It was only recently listening to other podcasts and doing the podcast, and people were telling me their shadow figure experiences. And I was like, I've had that experience.
Yeah.
I've woken up during the night and seen something that's blacker than the room. I've had that, and I was like, it just all clicked that that's what it was.
You just reminded me of an experience I had. Um, but I'll save that for the next time I'm on.
Awesome.
Remind me to
Yeah.
tell you about the hotel room that was my
Oh,
bedroom.
interesting.
Yeah, so it was like almost a dream, but it when I opened my eyes, the images were still there. you know,
Wow.
it was a bizarre since yeah, my like the bedroom I was in was the same, but it looked like a hotel room from the 50s with the red neon light going off outside and everything.
What was that in your house?
It was in my house. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That was bizarre. So I'll tell you about that next time I'm on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So yeah, I just remembered you just reminded me of that. I've had so many strange
Yeah.
experiences.
Yeah.
As I make note and tell the stories again, it's like, wow, that's strange.
Yeah. I know. It comes back to you. Like,
It's like
yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
But I will take it back to you. It's your time. So shadow figures, full bodied apparitions, floating eyeballs, um, and your pet dog,
Yeah.
which is pretty
That's
cool.
the floating eyes and the pet. That was my brother's experiences, but
Granted,
yeah.
yeah. I meant in the house in
But
general.
oh right, yeah. Sorry, yeah,
In
yeah.
your youth.
But then with the shadow figures, so after learning that that's what that was, or I think that's what it was, I started just doing the podcast and talking to people, and so many people have experienced that. And I've actually had it now 3 times in this house that
Really?
I'm in now. Yeah. And I don't know if that's because I've been talking about it.
Could be.
Have I invited it? I
Yeah.
don't know. But I've had the same experience 3 times. And one was literally a few nights ago, like literally like 3 or 4 nights ago. I had
Okay.
the experience.
Please inform us.
So when it's happened recently, it's a few months ago, it's quite far back now. It's at the start of doing this podcast. It happened. My podcast. I woke up, same thing. There was someone looking over me in the bed, while I'm in bed. I've
Yeah.
woken up and there's something looking at blacker than the room. The weird thing is that the times it's happened in this house, I've been scared, don't get me wrong, like it shocks me and it takes me back, but it's not a fear that I felt before.
Okay.
again, I don't know if that's because I'm talking about this stuff and I'm learning about it a bit more, and I don't know if you can never get comfortable with the paranormal, but am I getting used to? I don't know, but it just didn't scare me like it scared me before.
Well, they say knowledge is power, and probably that's lending to your psychological stamina a little bit more. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
And
sorry,
then
please proceed.
with when it happened a couple of nights ago, so I woke up, and this was a bit different because I thought my wife was sitting up, and I've just sort of woke up and I've looked, and I thought she was sitting up,
Yeah.
and I thought, obviously you think so. So I got up, I was like, "You all right?" And just started making sure
Yeah.
she.
Checking in.
And
Yeah.
when I've got up and I've looked, it's sort of gone, faded, and she's laying there,
Oh.
and I was like, oh, "Okay."
That's not wow.
Yeah,
No, and she was unaware of this entire thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. She was sound asleep, but I woke up, and again, I don't know, man.
yeah.
I
If
was
you wake
awake.
up and you go like this and you
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Literally got up
yeah,
to make sure
I'm
rub
gonna
her
go.
back.
I'm gonna go with you thought something was there. Yeah, that wasn't a dream. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
doesn't sound like a dream. Um man. So
yeah.
that was the most recent one?
That was yeah. So that was like 3 or 4 nights ago. That was yeah.
Okay.
That's the most recent.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
That's
interesting.
that is
And it,
really amazing. The um the fact that this thing, well, whether it was that particular entity or not, but you've experienced shadow people at two locations. Now, how far away is your current house to where your first
it's so I'm in Dorset now. So it's about a 2.5 hour drive from
okay.
my old house, which was
Okay.
right near London, just outside London.
Okay.
So I'm pretty, but I mean,
Well removed.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you buying any graveyards?
No, I don't think so. No, I'm buying a
Okay.
massive forest now that's got a dogman law there, but that's a different
Yeah, now
subject.
you have a dog man thing over there. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a mention when I was asking you about some of your experiences off air. You mentioned UFOs.
yes,
Has this been a long time experience, the same as the ghosts, or is this
yeah. So my first UFO experience, and it was quite funny because I was on a show right at the start of my podcasting life. I was on Paranormal Heart Cat Ward show,
Oh, okay.
and we had a great chat on there. And I was talking to her, and a memory came back to me while I was talking to her that I completely forgot about, and it just and I told her about it, and she put the show out, and my brother listened to the show, and he was like, "Oh man, I remember that as well. How did we forget that? How have we never spoken about that since?" And I was like,
Wow.
I know, and that's yeah. So that was
And he's
cool.
still a skeptic.
And he still was skeptic. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I was about 14 years old when this happened.
Okay.
And this was in the just outside the new house that we moved into.
Okay.
And we used to play football in the street pretty much every day. Me and my brother, and it was always like a different group of kids, normally the same boys, but every now and again it would change.
Okay.
We'd always be out there playing football, basket, everything. And I just remember this day was a really hot summer day. We're all outside playing football. And I know it was me and my brother. I can't remember the other friends that were there. I think it was another. If you're listening and you can remember being there, let me know. I can't remember who the other guys were, but my brother definitely was there because he remembers this as well.
Okay.
So we're playing football, and all of a sudden we've stopped because we've seen something in the sky that we just can't work out what it is.
Okay.
So we're all just stopped. We're looking, and the only way I can describe this, whatever it was, it was just still, just there, and it looked like a floating building that you would see in Dubai, like a weird shape building. That's
Like
the only way I can describe
the
it.
Maj Khalifa or whatever it's called, that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, just a weird, yeah, just a
Huh.
like long, but I can't even. The shape's
It-
weird. Like the closest shape you could say is like a rectangle, but
okay.
it was just long, like just like a long. Do you know the Shard in London?
I
The
don't.
Shard, it's like a triangle, but it's really high.
Okay. It's
I
yeah.
would I would say close to that, but not a triangle. It was like a
It-
weird shape,
okay. Ooh,
if that makes sense.
I get it.
And I just remember it was like silver and orange. There was like orange on it and silver, and we was just watching it, all of us, for 5-10 minutes,
Wow.
and and I just remember us, we couldn't work out what it was. None of us had obviously camera phones, so we couldn't take pictures of it and stuff, which I wish we could.
Yeah.
But even
If
even at
only,
the
right?
time, yeah,
Yeah.
at the time, it was so weird. It's going to sound weird, but we was all like, oh, okay, well, let's carry on playing football, and we didn't see it disappear or anything like that. Bless you.
Thank you.
We didn't see it disappear or fly off, or we just sort of carried on playing football. And now
Okay.
I'm like, man, well, I would sit there for days to work out what it was now.
All right. Now, do you
But at the
remember?
time,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, so you go.
I was going to ask about the building. Did you notice? You said it resembled the building, so I'm going to ask if there were any windows or anything, any structures like
That's
windows.
it was quite far in the distance, but
Okay.
I remembering it, I feel like there was structure to it, if that makes sense. So it wasn't just one. There was all. Oh, it's so hard to explain, but it was like it was. Yeah, I would say that there probably was windows on it.
Okay.
If I had to, yeah, it
Okay.
was all different colors, but the main colors of it were orange and silver.
Now, was the surface reflective? Do you know if you can make out what other facing angles were seeing, like you would a mirror that might be in an angle?
Yeah, I can't.
Okay, just curious.
It
You said it
it
was
it,
really far away, so
it was quite far away, but it was literally the only way I can describe it is it was like if you took a building and just put it up in the sky and just let
gotcha.
it float. That's what it was.
You
And
said it was sticking up like vertically, or was it doing
yeah,
this horizontal?
yeah,
Oh,
it
okay.
was vertical,
All right.
and it was just like, but
Crazy.
I didn't see it disappear. I don't even remember, like at the time. I'm sure we carried on talking about it, but I don't remember it flying off or disappearing. It was just there. And the weird thing, I completely forgot about this until I was talking to Kat on the show, and it came back to me, and I just said it. And then my brother obviously listened to it, and he was like, I can remember that as well. What was that?"
Ah, that's
And we
crazy.
were, and that was cool to me that
That
he
is cool.
remembered
Yeah,
it, that he
for
remembered it
sure.
as well, and that I wasn't just going mad and having some crazy memory.
It's always nice
But
to have validation.
yeah, yeah.
Any other UFO experiences?
Yeah, I've seen a few strange things that I can't explain. So
Really?
we lived in Brentwood, which again is just outside London. This is a bit later on, me and my wife. So me and my wife had a flat in Brentwood. Um, so this has got to be 8-9 years ago. I
Okay.
would say 9 years ago now. And we was on the top floor. It was 4 floors high, and we was on the top.
Okay.
And one day, me and my mother-in-law were just looking out the window talking, and there was sort of like a forest opposite, but it wasn't like a massive forest. It was just a few trees. There's
Gotcha.
always a forest there.
I was just gonna say, there's always a forest near you, man.
But there was a house in the middle of this forested area. It wasn't a massive forest, but there was trees there.
Hmm.
And me and my mother-in-law were just talking away, and all of a sudden, out of the trees, there was like three shapes just came out the tree, right? And they seemed to be connected, but they weren't touching. So they were sort of moving
Oh,
around each other,
gotcha. Okay. They were
but they
tumbling
weren't.
into each other. Yeah.
Yeah, but they weren't actually touching,
Okay.
and they were constantly changing shape.
Really?
So yeah, so you couldn't put a shape in it and be like it's a circle. It was just constantly changing.
That's That's interesting.
Yeah. And
Oh,
they weren't super big. They were like as big as, I would say, like a basketball, each
even
one.
at a distance, you would say that?
Yeah, because this wasn't far away at all. We was
Oh, okay.
literally the other side of the road, and they come out the
Oh,
trees.
okay.
So
Wow.
we're
Okay.
getting a good look at this,
Okay.
and we're talking, and we're saying, what is that? Is that a balloon? Are they balloons? And we're just, they weren't balloons. They were
Mm,
the way I describe it is, you know, the Terminator when he melts
sure.
and he goes that silvery color, and
Yeah.
it was that sort of that color,
Okay.
and it was that sort of texture, I would say, as well, and changing shape
And it was just
constantly.
morphing different
And they,
shapes. Okay.
yeah, and they were moving around each other, like, and they were just going up and up and up, and we was watching it for 5 minutes, whatever it was. It seemed like quite a while, and then all of a sudden, it just went flash, flash, flash. All three of them. You just saw
Oh,
them go,
like
and we,
like Star Wars when they go into hyperspace, huh?
yeah, but you saw these actually shoot off,
Crazy.
and it
Oh,
was
that's neat.
mad. And
Yeah, yeah.
me and my mother-in-law was like, no one's going to believe that we just saw that. What was that? And
Keep
yeah,
keep the video camera handy, you know.
yeah. And again,
Man.
that was cool because I experienced it with my mother-in-law, so that
Yeah,
was
that's nice.
the
Yeah.
validation as well. But yeah,
It's
and
nice to have validation.
I had a camera phone at that time. I didn't even think of recording it.
Isn't it funny how certain things just, you're so shocked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Oh man. Uh,
So I don't know what that was, but it was
that
strange.
very unique UFO. I've been one to study the various designs out there that people have seen over the years, and there's a lot of repeat business as far as the different ship designs throughout the decades. But I don't think I've ever heard of that one.
No,
That's
no. This is,
pretty intense.
I've never seen anything like it. I mean, I've not seen any videos or anything like it.
Yeah.
So very interesting. But someone said to me, perhaps it wasn't an alien. It could be anything. You could have just been seeing energy, or you could have been seeing. Someone said a fairies. I was like, I don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
know that
know.
ferries go in the warp drive though, you know.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this was, yeah, no idea what it was, but it was very strange.
Did you just say fairy strange?
Yeah, I should have done.
Okay, that was my ears playing tricks on me then. Um, that would have been a marvelous pun.
Yeah, man.
Okay, sir. Um, sorry, that was stupid. But the yeah, I'm still pondering this. I'm actually reminded of another UFO case where it was on North Atlantic, someone sailing out from like Maine or New Hampshire in the US. So that's way northeast corner of our country, of the contiguous states anyway. And they're cruising out on the North Atlantic. They are just at, I think, the international water line, and there's a series of big rocks that this, you know, ship has to navigate through. And so they're going extra slow, and they see this, some guy has a video camera and he's watching everything, and there's this one especially large rock, and there's a boat parked there initially. But as they pass it, this thing begins to change shape. And the wind, it looks like it was mimicking a yacht, but it begins to change shape, turn into something else. And then it's a big diamond looking thing. And it's this weird putty color too. And this is before CGI was even available to the public. So this was not movie
Interesting.
magic at all. And
Yeah.
it keeps its portholes, its yacht like portholes, and then bam, straight up into the air. It's gone in a heartbeat.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
It was it was something to see. If I could pull up the footage, I'll include it in this podcast. But yeah, that it was something to see. I gotta see if I can find it again. But that's what your craft loosely reminded me of, that ability to just be amorphous and change shape.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
You couldn't put a shape on what I saw because it was constantly changing. It was
Now,
very,
let
really
me ask
strange.
you, was it a really smooth transition between these different shapes, or was it a square, a hexagon, a triangle?
No, it was smooth. It was
Okay, got it.
definitely, and it was just, and they was just sort of moving around each other,
Yeah.
but then they were never the same shape either. They were like constantly changing shape. It's really
Crazy.
strange.
That is strange. That is very
So I
strange.
don't know what that was, but I put that in the UFO category.
I definitely call that an unidentified flying object for
Yeah, yeah, for
sure.
sure, for sure.
What other craft have you seen?
So this was weird. This was another experience I had in Norfolk in the UK. So we
Okay.
were staying in they were like wood cabins where you can stay and you're in the middle of the forest again. But I like taking pictures of trees and stuff, and I
Uh,
like getting nice pictures. And people take the mickey out of me because of that, but that's what I do sometimes. Anyway, I was just taking pictures of what I thought was a nice tree line in the night. It was like night time, but you could see the tree. It just looked nice. I was like, I'm gonna take a picture of it. And I'm taking a picture, and as I did it, something shot up into the sky. And I was like, oh, what was that? That was cool. It didn't come out in the picture. And I was like, oh, I didn't get whatever it was.
yeah.
But when on an iPhone, when you take a picture, it takes like a live picture
Yeah.
and you hold it down, and you could see when you held it down that something flashed up super quick in the picture. So I caught it.
Oh, nice.
I caught whatever it was.
Did you get a shape
And
out of it, or was it a blur?
but this is the thing, that it was just like a quick light. It didn't prove anything. I could show someone that and they go, oh, it was a firework, it
All
didn't
right.
prove any, I wouldn't be able to say, oh look, that's a UFO, whatever. But anyway, the strange thing was is I straight after I did this and I see that I called it, I got this horrible feeling. And this is weird because like I want to see UFOs every day and I want to take pictures of UFOs every day.
Sure, sure.
And if I get a picture, I'm going to put it straight online, and
Oh,
show everyone because that's just what I love and that's what I'll do. But I just got this horrible feeling and I was like, I shouldn't have this. I don't know what.
mm.
And I can't explain why, but I deleted the picture.
Oh, yeah.
And then I deleted it from my recently deleted picture, so it was gone.
Gotcha. All
And I was
right.
like, why have I done that? Like, it still really bugs me to this day because I know it sounds crazy, but I just had
You
this.
know, you gotta trust your instinct, I think, in those
Yeah,
situations. If you got a bad vibe, I mean, like Shadow Man standing over your bed, bad vibe
yeah,
about what you
yeah,
just captured, yeah, keep it on the down low at the very least, if not delete it outright.
yeah.
I think you did the right thing. My instinct says you did the right thing. So yeah.
I just it still bugs me that I done it though because I'd love to just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
have it
Look
and
what I
show
caught.
people.
And
But
2 days
yeah,
later, he was hit by a car that was
yeah. So maybe it was good that I got
yeah,
rid of
right.
it, but
Exactly.
and that was right near as well. I don't know if this is another. It was right near a military base, so I don't know if there was something else to that.
Oh,
Literally
could
the other
be.
side of the. Yeah,
And you said you were in Norfolk. I'm trying to remember where
that was in Norfolk.
Rendlesham is.
That is not far from there. I'm sure
Okay.
that's in Ipswich, I
Okay.
think, and that's really close to that actually.
Yeah.
Rendlesham Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
I
There's a
didn't think of that.
Rendlesham's been a night. It's been a not a nightmare, but I mean, wow, a lot of stuff has gone down.
Yeah, man.
Not just the
Yeah.
Rendlesham incident. I can't talk tonight. I'm glad you're doing all the talking. Uh, so you were in Norfolk. You saw the little whatever that was. Um, Now, did you get a shape to it, or was it?
It was literally just like a super quick light, just shut
It
up.
was
It
a
looked
light.
like
Hold on, I didn't catch that before. You said it was a light.
yeah, it was a light, yeah. So it was like, say, a shooting star, really
Yeah,
quick, but
it
it
came from the
came up
ground
from
up.
yeah, yeah. And I caught this. Obviously it didn't come out in the final picture, but when I when I click down on the picture and watch the video that it makes,
Yeah.
it caught it.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. And again, what it was, I mean, I've heard other people say to me, maybe that wasn't a UFO, maybe that was some sort of bad spirit or something. I don't know, but
I
it
mean,
was,
that's entirely possible, but given your location, I would suspect it was something a little more outer spacey than not.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Outer
And it shot.
spacey. I'm using those words now. Gosh, I'm not even close to millennial, and I'm sounding like them more and more. Uh,
But this, whatever it was, it shot up to the sky and was gone. It was weird, man.
oh, that actually reminds me of an experience I had. I'll share it briefly because it's really unremarkable. But I was purposely looking for a UFO one night. And lo and behold, way up in the sky, like right above the house I'm in right now, was this little dot. And it was moving, and it was booking, and it was super high. I mean, edge of the atmosphere at the very least, if not outside it. And it wasn't a satellite because it was in the wrong position. just because of the way satellites operate. I happen to know a little bit about that because of my NASA experience.
Yeah,
But here's the thing. You may recall that famous piece of NASA footage that NASA tried to debunk, where there was that rocket that was sent up against the UFO, and UFO reacts and shoots away
yeah.
into the distance, and a few other UFOs follow them. Well, that's exactly what happened with this speck of light. It didn't slow down. It got higher and higher and higher until it disappeared, and it took maybe 3 seconds to do that. It got fainter and fainter and
Wow,
fainter and was gone. And
that's
yeah, if it were a
cool.
shooting star, it would have gotten brighter, and then I would have seen roughly what its trajectory was. But that's not what
Yeah,
happened. It went up, not down. So,
that's cool.
oh yeah, that was. But it was a pinpoint of light, just like you described.
Yeah,
But you got it up close and personal.
yeah, yeah. But for me, it was just a bad vibe that I got from having the picture on my
Yeah,
phone, and I just
I
can't
get you.
explain it, and it
You know
still
what?
bugs me.
I know that sensation, but I still think you did the right thing.
Yeah, yeah.
As much as the proof would be awesome, I still think you did the right thing. A little self-preservation, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah. That's
So,
the thing. Sorry.
oh no, please continue.
Now the picture that I caught, it wouldn't really have proven anything. Like it was literally just a flash. Like you wouldn't been able to say, "Oh, that's a UFO or whatever," But it was
No,
just the fact that I got the bad vibe and got rid of it.
yeah. I still think you did the right thing. The and given where you took the photo and caught that image, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. We don't want anything bad happening to you. Getting you disappeared there.
yeah.
So okay, so that's a good UFO story. Was there anything else that happened to you?
I've seen other things in the sky that I can't explain. I mean, I've seen lights last year in Bournemouth, which is where I live now.
Okay.
We just got off the beach, and because I'm so into it now, all the kids are, and the wife's like, "Oh, what's that?" And we're always, "Is it a plane?" Oh, I don't know. But this
That's
one night,
awesome.
one night we saw something in the sky and was like, we're all looking at it, and it wasn't a plane because it wasn't
Mm,
really moving. I don't think it wasn't a plane.
okay.
And another little light came out of it, and
Ooh.
we was all watching it for ages, and then they just sort of flew off. I don't know if that was a
Ooh.
UFO, but it was interesting.
I
Seen a lots of things like that. Like,
Well, I don't think we have anything that's Star Wars level right now.
yeah,
I think you definitely saw a UFO there.
yeah.
Was there anything else that stands out about recent UFO activity?
Um, no, I mean, during the lockdown, like yourself, because I'm always going outside and looking up, and I sort of put it out there, like, let's
Yeah.
see something tonight. And a few times something's happened. Like I've gone out there, I've asked, and I've seen it's this UFO, I don't know, but during the lockdown, when we was all locked down, I used to go outside quite a lot and just look at the stars because there was nothing else to do.
Right.
And there was something going across the sky. And again, is it a meteorite or something like I don't know. But it seemed to sort of go through something and disappear as I was watching it.
Oh,
And it
saw
didn't
it, you
seem
saw it enter a conduit of some sort?
that's how it
Okay.
seemed.
Okay.
And that was weird. And that's yeah.
Wow. That's wow. And how far up was this in the sky?
It didn't seem too far. I mean, it was high and it was
Yeah.
just a light that I was watching, but it didn't seem well out there, you know? It didn't seem like with the stars or whatever.
Okay.
It was
Well, it was
yeah.
well within our sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, did you get a sense of the shape of the object, or was it just a light?
Yeah, it was just a light.
Okay.
It was
And
just a
then it
light. But
spit out a baby light.
that was another time. Yeah, that
Oh,
was
okay,
last
okay.
summer. Yeah. As I said, I'm always out trying to look for stuff and yeah.
That's fantastic. That's really cool. Is that whoops, sorry. I'll ask that
I think
question
that's
again. Is that it for the UFOs or
yeah, that I can
okay,
they're the main ones for sure
gotcha. Now
so far.
let me since you're in the forest all the time or
Yeah.
near it, have you ever had you said there was a dog man near you or reports of one? And now have
Yeah,
you go ahead, tell me about that.
so we moved here to Dorset. It's an area that we've wanted to live for a long time. And last year or a year and a half ago now, we went for it and we come down here. And where I live, there's a big heathland forest, literally 2 minutes up the road,
Okay.
which we love. And it was a big reason why we come here because we like going on walks and stuff. Um, and I didn't know anything about. Obviously, I'm fascinated with Bigfoot and Dogman and stuff like that, but I didn't
Sure.
know there was any law of that around here until I moved
Cool.
here and talking to a couple of locals. And this particular girl at my work that knew a lot about it and was like, "Yeah, we've got a Dogman law. People have seen it. People can smell it sometimes."
Oh,
And she's explaining to me. Apparently, it's in books and stuff, which is interesting.
yeah.
I've not found too much on it. I'm constantly trying to find stuff on it. I've not found too much on it yet, but apparently it's out there and people have had experiences in the area. And it's interesting because I didn't know about this till not too long ago. So we was living here for a while before I knew about this. And I used to hear when we first moved into this house. Now I don't know. This could just be a dog that's local to the area, but I used to hear growling outside the house when we first moved here. And I used to look out the window and you couldn't see any dogs or anything.
Okay.
It was quite strange. And that happened for a little while, but it's not happened recently.
Okay.
That's when we first moved here.
Okay.
And then obviously I learned about this dogman law that is in this forest, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, I'll go back. This happened before I knew this about the dogman law as well. So there was one, it was a wintry sort of night. It was quite cold. I can't remember. We wasn't here for too long. We went for a walk, me and my two daughters, over the forest.
Okay.
And we do that all the time. Like we always go for walks and stuff.
That's awesome.
And we was quite high up in the forest.
Mm.
And my eldest daughter, Amy, who's she would have been 10 at the time, really started freaking out and saying, "Dad, I've just seen what she said was a Bigfoot." Right now, I shouldn't have done, but I've sort of dismissed it and gone, "No, you've not seen a Bigfoot. Like,
Okay.
there's no Bigfoots here. They're in America." You know, this is what I'm saying to try and calm
Apparently
them
the
down.
world over, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah, no, I know for sure. There's Bigfoots in the UK, but I'm just trying to calm her down because she was freaking out, and she was saying it had yellow eyes, and I've just because I'm always watching Bigfoot documentaries, so I'm thinking we're in the forest. She's just letting her imagination go wild, which I shouldn't because I've had experiences and I know how that feels as a kid. But I got us out of there. And she still says to this day she saw what she describes as a Bigfoot. over in the distance looking at us
Oh
with
wow.
yellow eyes, big and black. This is how she describes it. Um,
Huh.
and
Wow.
then after talking to people where I work, telling me about the dog man law, and I was like, did my daughter see the dog man? I don't
Yeah.
know, but
That's
it's,
a logical conclusion, I would
yeah,
say.
it's
Um,
interesting.
that is interesting. Have you ever seen any larger than normal dog tracks out there or anything like that?
Um, not that I could say no. I mean, I go out there and I'm always looking. Don't get me wrong. I walk my dog over there all the time, and I'm always hoping to see something. I did see tracks that were quite large at one point, but I didn't. I didn't. I think I took a picture of them. I'll send them over.
Okay.
I don't
Yeah.
think it was a dog man, but
Let me
I think it was a large dog. But yeah,
well, let
I'll
me
have to
take a
go
look.
back.
I'd be curious
Yeah,
to see it.
I'll send them over.
Yeah. There was an instance, it was caught on tape too, where there was and it couldn't be disproven. That was the weird part. There was I'm not sure what part, but it was definitely UK, I think. And there's this little dog running around the forest, and the owner says, "You be careful out there." And this dire wolf, like straight out of the stories, man, big black dog starts chasing the dog around, and they play, and the little dog chases the big dog, and this dog was freaking huge.
Yeah,
And so, was that in England? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I know the video you're talking about.
Yeah.
I know that
Well, it
video.
was examined rather recently, at least on a couple of different shows, and the expert said,
Yeah,
I'm not sure that's not a dog. It just could be a
yeah,
really huge freaking dog.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I
That's
mean,
amazing. That video. Yeah,
it's pretty, yeah. Well, I mean, with the biologists on there go, it's a dog. I mean, it's moving like a
yeah,
dog. And the
yeah,
CGI guys say, no, that's not being faked. It's like, well, okay, there's your 2 and 2.
yeah,
Here comes 4.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah, that's an amazing video. That is.
yeah, that's pretty cool. So
I
I'm wondering
wouldn't
if
like
you,
to bump into that.
yeah, well, if they're that friendly with a regular house dog, I imagine they're going to be okay. They might
Yeah,
give you a
yeah.
little bit of trouble.
Because
Yeah.
I would love to see like I know this is a crazy dream, but I'd love to see um a Bigfoot dog man. I'd love to see
Oh
something like
yeah,
that.
me too.
That's the dream.
Yeah, that is the dream. I want to see the dog man transform.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the one for me. Do it again. Do it again. Does it hurt when that happens? Just silly questions that would pop up, I imagine.
Yeah.
But so okay, so you saw the dog, or your daughter saw something akin to a Bigfoot, she believes. You're thinking it's more dog man, a little bit more related to
I,
current lore.
only because that's the law that's there. I mean, there could be, you know, there
There
could
could be
be Bigfoot
Bigfoot.
there. Yeah. I've
Could,
spoken to a lot of people in the UK that have had experiences.
okay.
So I think we've got stuff here like that as well.
Is there a color difference between, because there's a color variation from the west coast to the east coast of America, and
Yeah.
it goes from red, where I'm at in California, like a darker orangutan color, to pure black in the swamps of Florida.
Yeah,
So
it's interesting. I know
so
in
I
Scotland they've got one that they believe is grey. They call it
okay,
the grey man or something like that, and that could be a possible Sasquatch
okay.
that people say. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Let's go back to your forest and your experience with forests, your
Yes.
proximity to
So,
forests.
it's always in a
The
forest.
Yeah, yeah. Now I know this is going to sound a little silly, especially since I'm mostly, and not necessarily, but for the most part, I'm talking about Ireland. The vast difference. There's a big piece of ocean between Ireland and England and the UK, and but both lands have a pretty staunch history, folklore with fairies and such, and the
Yeah.
fae folk, and all those creatures that reside under that supernatural phylum. Have you ever had any experiences or heard any stories regarding that?
I mean, the fairy lore is pretty big in the UK. I mean, you go to most forests and, you know, you can always find little fairy doors that people that own the forest put there and stuff. So we've got a big fairy lore.
Really?
I mean, I would love to see something like that.
I saw. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I was going to say I saw a film recently done in the UK about the Red Hoods, and I had never heard of the Red Hoods before. But apparently they're, I don't know, dwarfish in their stature, but they got pointy elf-like ears, almost like Santa Claus elves.
Interesting.
But their thing is they all have red caps. And I don't know if you've heard those stories or not, but there was a
No, I
movie
need to look into that.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Yeah. It was.
I mean, I've spoken to people. I had people on the show that
Colin Meaney was in it.
Okay.
And who's that girl? Oh man, she was in. I don't know if you saw that Marvel movie, the second Ant-Man movie. With the ghost, the girl who played the ghost.
I watched that recently. Yeah. Oh, I don't know her name.
The lady,
I know you mean.
Yeah, the girl. Yeah. She's a young woman. The woman who played the ghost character. She's the lead.
Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. Is that based on a true story?
Apparently, it's based on the local legends of a given town somewhere. I think they changed names to protect the town, but. I mean, you mentioned fairy doors, and it made me think, oh, that reminds me of that movie.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting.
Okay,
I was just curious to know if you had any personal fairy experiences or anything like that, or
no, not that
friends who did.
I mean, I've spoken to people who have seen fairies and gnome-like creatures, goblins, and things like that. I mean, I've never experienced that myself. I'd like to. I'd love to see something like that. I mean, it fascinates me, the folklore, and but I can tell you something weird that happened, and I've not spoken about this. This happened
last. An exclusive.
This actually happened last time I spoke to JJ Rose, and and I didn't even tell her this because it literally happened just before the interview, and I didn't know if I was just going mad, and I still might. It still might not be anything, but I'll share it with you now.
Please.
And I don't know what it was, but okay. So I finish work, and I literally work 2 seconds from my house, pretty much. It's less than a minute walk home.
Excellent.
And I'm walking home, and it's dark. Obviously, it's late at night. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. And I saw a lady walking along. And I've not even took any note. You don't normally see people at that time anyway. Like, it's very rare that I see anyone. But I saw a lady walking along, and she walked to the bus stop, and you couldn't see her. She went behind the bus stop, and I just looked away. When I looked back, a fox came out of the bus stop and ran off. And then I walked around expecting to see the lady there, and there was no lady there, and there was no lady to be seen. And I was like,
shapeshifter.
Have I just seen a shapeshifter? And there might have been a trick or something, but I don't know.
Where'd the lady go? She didn't walk.
I don't know. And I didn't want to say it to JJ at the time because it literally just happened, and I was like, I don't know. It was so strange.
That's intriguing.
And the more I thought about it after recording with JJ, I was like, was that something? I don't know. But it was very weird. I don't know where the lady went. It's very weird. I've seen the fox a few times since as coming out of work, but I've not seen the lady. But it was just very weird. And I can't
wait for the fox to go behind the bus stop. If the lady pops out, you
come
got
back. Something. Yeah. And then I'll be like, that's what it was. It was very strange.
Well, that's interesting though. I mean, how often does this fox come out into the town?
Well, I've seen it. I've only noticed it. This is a very recent thing, this fox. I've seen the fox since. Literally, as I come out of work at night, it's dead. There's no cars around. It's very quiet in this area at that time of night. And to see a lady walking along is quite strange because you don't normally see people.
Yeah.
But and she's walked to the bus stop, and then for a second you can't see her because it's behind the bus stop.
Right.
And a fox came out, and I was like, "That's weird." But
That is
then
weird.
I've looked to the bus, and there's nowhere she can go. That's why it's strange, because there's no like little alley she can cut. I don't know. It's still, I don't know what that was. Just thought I'd share that with you.
Yeah, no, that's very intriguing. That's amazing. That's yeah, shape-shifting. That's pretty cool. I mean, if there's a dog man and it goes from a man to a dog and back, why couldn't it be a woman fox or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah. But when you said your experience on when we spoke last, and you said about the cat and the eyes changed, it sort of reminds me of that a little. Can people change into, I don't know.
Apparently so. Like I said, some of the witch lore, if you have a familiar, they have the ability to change into a person and back. Usually from a cat or a dog or some other familiar form that witches tend to like. And realistically, from what I understand, it could be any animal that the witch who has this familiar in servitude of them wants, and any type of human too. But once you make the decision, you're stuck.
Yeah.
But it was. I mean, that's lore. I don't have any proof of this. I've never actually seen it myself, with the exception of this doppelganger, to give it a name, doppelganger of my cat with the weird human eyes.
Yeah, that was strange, man.
That was not cool, man.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And like you with the photo, I got that vibe. It's like, I better treat this with kid gloves.
Yeah.
Play dumb. It's like, bye, kitty, get out of here. And that was it.
Yeah.
But if it weren't for those weird human eyes, that was a spitting image of my other cat, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Just
that's strange, man.
Yeah, it was bizarre. It was bizarre. But there was you had a recent UFO flap, if I'm not mistaken, in the UK. Is that correct?
What, a lot of people seeing UFOs?
I thought there was something, and you know what? I might be talking about Scotland. I thought it was like way northern part of the country, and that's Scotland.
Okay.
And I think they're seeing those triangle ones with the 3 lights underneath, and they see fleets of them, apparently.
Really?
Like fleets.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, flying along and the whole thing. So
interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I think maybe that was Scotland. I was just wondering if you've heard anything about it in your end.
No, I'll check that out as well. Interesting, man.
And there was something else up there. Was it? Oh, maybe in Loch Ness. Also, there was another thing in Loch Ness where someone had a drone, and there's this. Maybe you saw this video, but there a series of campers were, they're setting up camp on the edge, and this one guy gets a chance to fly his drone high up and get an aerial, and lo and behold, sitting like maybe 20, 30 feet offshore is the head with a long neck, big plesiosaur shape, basically, of apparently the Loch Ness monster. I mean, it's a little faded in spots, but there's a couple really clear instances in that video where I find it hard to deny that it's not a plesiosaur.
Yeah.
Funny little dolphin flippers for feet and this brontosaurus-like body with the neck and everything. Weird. I mean, it was just an incredible grab. And I've never heard about that at all. But
I'll have to check that out as well. The Loch Ness monster is so fascinating. And what I find fascinating is, like Bigfoot and Dogman, it's all around the world. It's not just in one place. There seems to be lots of these creatures.
We have one or two. I know we have one in Lake Champlain.
Yeah, yeah, and that's a
Out
great
here.
picture.
Yeah, it's a good
That
picture, isn't
picture,
it? Champ
yeah,
is what they call him. And I think we have another one in, geez, where is that? I want to say no, not Yellowstone. So Great Lakes, and there's another lake system. Well, they've seen that there's another lake system, I think further west.
yeah.
They've seen something bizarre,
So interesting,
just
man.
like that. And stuff. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. And
I find it fascinating, you know, because
yeah, me
so many
too.
people see these things, and
Well, I'm folks poo poo having our devices with us everywhere we go, and it's like, oh, it's an invasion of privacy. Why are we recording everything we do? But I gotta say, thank God, because
yeah,
we have been able to capture some pretty intriguing stuff. Oh, there was one, and it was on Instagram. Maybe you saw this too. Guy flying a twin Cessna or a plane. He's got his own private plane, and he's got a forward-facing camera out there, and he's saying, "Oh, look at that cool cloud formation." And out of it flies this UFO, and bam, right over his head. No
awesome.
shockwave, and because something that close, and it was pretty big. I call it about the size of maybe a fighter jet, and it was not shaped like one though. It had the rudimentary shape of almost diamond shape, but it looked like it was trying to grow wings almost. And
Interesting.
it just bam right past him. What was he dropped the phone practically trying to,
Yeah,
and he was just looking at clouds.
yeah,
That
yeah.
was the weird part. So
That's a cool
could be
experience.
CG because it was a clean shot. It was a beautiful clean shot that he got. The stills from that are amazing. It could be fake, but my gut instinct, my eye says, well, that was
Yeah,
something there.
interesting. Because it's so hard to tell now because
Yeah, yeah,
there's
it
so
is.
much.
There's a few giveaways here and there, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's getting harder and harder and harder to tell. I mean, they're getting that close to
yeah,
photorealism. It's amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Did you
But
happen to see also on Instagram? I think it was Bigfoot Lover. Is the handle. I'll give them a shout out. Good job, Bigfoot Lover. I don't know if it was their photo or if they grabbed it from somewhere, but it was it was a shot like if this is the frame, it was a shot of a Bigfoot right next to a trail cam. And
wow.
it was the nose. You could see the eyes and the fur going up into it looked just like the Patterson Gimlin Bigfoot. And you can see the fur
Interesting.
track up here, but left a mask for the eyes to be clear. And the head goes up. It's a little pointy, like you see all the time and or hear about. And it was right there. And if it was a true grab, it's one of the best grabs ever. It
Yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
I'll
Because
have
these,
to,
they whatever they can do, they seem to be smart enough to pick up on these trail cams and things like that because they're so hard to catch, aren't they?
yeah, they are. Did you see there's one in the state in the forests of Michigan. Did you see that one?
I don't think so. Well, I probably
Okay.
have.
You probably
You'll
have.
you'll have to remind me of it.
It's a couple of years old. I think it was, well, at least it came out during the pandemic. So this guy's he's hunting. He's got trail cams up because he's out in the forest, man. He doesn't have a choice. Um, so he sticks up trail cams, and lo and behold, it's motion activated. So he sees a couple of deer, and then he sees something building. Have you seen the Bigfoot domes? Those made out of pine tree branches and
Yeah.
stuff. Well, there's a creature building that. He's right behind a tree. It's
Oh,
hard to make
wow.
out, but he walks back, and you can see this huge, hulking, upright, bipedal thing. It's covered in like thick brown fur, and
Interesting.
And he's as he's setting things up, he notices the trail cam and he goes still. And I was just amazed at how still he was. And then he starts doing something like an owl might do, waggles the head back and forth, trying to see if this thing's gonna follow him.
Yeah.
Interesting,
man. I don't think I've seen that.
And then have you?
I don't think I have.
Oh, okay.
I want to see it. If you can send that to me, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll try and dig it up. It's in the archive somewhere. But
interesting.
But there's a series of clips where this Bigfoot just kind of gives up at one point. Say, yeah, you got me on camera, big deal. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't know if that's his thought processes or anything. But he goes into his house. You see him do this again inside his house because he doesn't like the trail cam looking at him. Because I guess he singled out the eye, the open eye for the trail cam. So it probably looks like an eye. And it's like, why is that tree looking at me? And then in the next series of shots, the trail cam is beaten really hard too. Bap, bap, and then snap free and drops to the ground.
Wow. Interesting, man.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. It was an interesting grab. If it was faked, good job.
It done well.
Really good. Big applause from Tim.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was pretty convincing.
That's awesome. Bigfoot, I find it so fascinating. Yeah. I mean, it's really, I think Bigfoot is probably what got me into the podcast, because I was looking for Bigfoot stuff and I was listening to Bigfoot shows, and that's really what got me into listening to podcasts. Really was Bigfoot. So I can thank Bigfoot for doing podcasts.
That's awesome. All right, well, let's talk about that. That's part of the why I have you on here too. So you started listening to podcasts and then you started doing your own. When you first started, it sounds like you were what I would loosely term as a believer, because that's not necessarily the case with you. You've seen shit. Pardon my French.
Yeah.
But but you've seen shit, and you've had validation from others standing right next to you. That's and I bet you if I separated you and asked you questions individually, you'd probably give me the exact same story. I have that sense. So when you go into podcasting, you're again, lack of a better term, a believer.
For sure.
Certainly an experiencer. And you jump on, and where are you looking to talk to other Bigfoot people, or what was your first goal? What was your first?
I just want to learn more about the subject and learn more of what other people think as well. So people's opinions interest me. What people, like some people, everyone's got their own opinions on everything with the paranormal, and I find that interesting to know. I like to know what you believe as well. Like, I know what I believe, but I find it interesting to know what others believe, and I think you learn a lot, especially from podcasts. There's something about podcasts that I think is a great way to, obviously, for conversations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But so that's what it was, really, to learn more, to meet more people that have had experiences.
Gotcha. So from then to now, has your opinion of the paranormal changed, or are you still okay, let me rephrase that question. From here to now, has your opinion of the paranormal decreased? It's like, oh, I've heard that story before, or are you still at the same level, or has it increased?
I would say it's increased. Okay. I mean, so I'm talking to people all the time about paranormal, but every story, it fascinates me. And I've heard shadow people tell me about seeing shadow people, hundreds of times now, but I still find it amazing. Every time someone tells me their experience, even small experiences. I find it all amazing. So I think it's increased. I mean, obviously, I've always been into the paranormal. I've always watched TV programs. I've always listened to podcasts and read books.
Right.
I feel like, you know, you think now I'd be like, okay, let's have a break from it. Let's have a few days of not anything. I don't. It's literally every day. It's a bit worrying, to be honest. It's sort of taken over my life. Like I find it amazing, and I don't know where it stops because,
Yeah.
There's so much. You open one door and you've got another million questions.
Yeah, that's the thing about doing this work. I mean, I started out in my first foray into doing anything remotely close to this was as a PI. I did private investigation. And I was very young when I did that. That was before my Air Force experience. And I got out. I was, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say that a lot tonight, apparently. For lack of a better term, I was scared out of doing PI work. And I'll tell you that story next time I'm on your show. Suffice it to say, it was a surveillance that went super awry. I mean, it was a bonkers situation. And every PI from my generation and back has a similar story that they can go, yep, that's exactly like my story, except this happened. And or that happened. But it's everyone has that weird surveillance, and that weird surveillance was the one that said, nope, I'm done. Done with this. And I love the work, don't get me wrong, it was great work, but that was I still learned how to be a detective, a proper detective. And with the college courses with actual police detectives who were taking their continuing education credentials, so I got to learn a lot. It was fantastic. I love that stuff. I was this close to being a cop myself, but didn't pan out. But it was that training, that ability to ask questions in a series to get to the bottom of a situation that made me the investigator of the group, of the PI group, of the scary group. And the one thing, I was Mulder. I wanted to believe, you know. And then there was my buddy Henry, who was a strict scientist, computer guy, scientific background, total skeptic. I mean, no matter what. And he had some amazing things happen to him that are very paranormal indeed. Still a total skeptic. Nope, I need empirical evidence. It's like, okay, you're that's it. Come on, let's go hunt some ghosts.
Yeah.
And it was that type of thing that kind of keeps me going in this. I mean, it's always a hunt for that mystery, to solve that mystery. It's a constant open case.
Yeah.
You can take a lot of things with a grain of salt. I'm just talking too much on your interview. I'm so sorry.
No, not at all, man.
But it's a matter of, like I said, getting to the bottom of this mystery that just doesn't end, because we're left with as many questions, if not more questions. At the end
for sure.
And there's more and more weird stuff creeping, forgive the pun, creeping up left and right. A good example, I've seen a lot of videos lately, and they're kind of older, but not older, but they weren't shot today, but they're shot really recently, of those entities swimming in the atmosphere. Have you seen that? And they look like big black squids, basically, except they don't have that dome and there's no eyeballs. They're just these things kind of swimming around.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they call them sky jellies or something like that.
Yeah, man. Very strange. Yeah.
That's weird.
Interesting.
And there was one guy who captured one and said, yep, the aliens are here. Here they are. We're screwed. That whole thing. But it's not like they're filling our skies. I mean, they show up in like one spot and then nothing, in one spot, then nothing, like their UFO
Yeah,
counterparts. But
it's interesting. Are they already here, as you experienced, living among us
yeah,
secretly already?
yeah, I do believe they are. I mean, I told you about the VIP thing, right?
Yeah,
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 the
yeah,
ones I saw in Santa Cruz were probably
yeah,
part of
man.
that program.
Yeah,
So
so interesting.
yeah, it was but so it's just it's an ongoing mystery. And I gotta say, even in through this medium and exploring these things, it always brings something new up. It's like, I gotta look this up, I gotta look that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that
There's
was
so much to the paranormal. It's
I'll quote Eric Salaji. He told me there's no end to the amount of weird in this world.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, and we love it.
Oh yeah, we love it. I mean, we wouldn't be doing shows every week
Yeah,
or if or
yeah,
more. You do two a
yeah.
week, is that right?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, I'm putting 2 a week out. Yeah,
For
yeah,
you.
yeah. Oh, thank you, man. Yeah.
All right.
And I'm
Oh,
thinking about 3, but I don't know. I don't know.
good.
It might be. It's tough work. It's hard work.
Yeah, it is. It's tough. It's tough putting these together. You gotta chop them just so sometimes and all that fun stuff.
But
There,
you meet the most amazing people.
you
That's what I
really
love about the
do.
podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you really do. You have some amazing guests on. I've been very fortunate to have some really fun guests on, including yourself.
Oh, thanks, man.
And not at all, happily. And there's just something about it. You
Yeah.
know, it I don't get that many cases coming in for scary these days. I'm not sure if the pandemic had something to do with that. You think there would be more ghosts, but
Yeah.
not to
Yeah.
be macabre, but um, who knows? There's
It's interesting.
yeah, there's so we're in a quasi dead period right now out in my area anyway. Um, And the funny thing is, we going back to the speaking of the pandemic, is my organization is the only one left in my area after the pandemic because they all the rest of them closed down, to my knowledge.
Really?
Because I know these guys. You know, I call them and say, hey, talk shop and can you help with a case out near you? I got the call, but I want to ping it over to you and that type of thing. So
Interesting.
but they all shut down. Numbers changed. No one's in the registry anymore. I mean, the websites are gone. It was just amazing to me. I didn't think that would
Yeah.
happen. So I think,
Yeah. So as you said, you think it would be the opposite effect.
yeah, you think it was, hey, I got free time now. Let's do some ghost
Yeah.
hunting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But nope, not happening. Not yet. Not yet.
Interesting.
I'm gonna go. Oh, yeah, I'll announce it here with you. That's fine. I'm gonna actually, in a couple 3 weeks, I'm gonna go to the local hills where they give a lot of Bigfoot sightings.
Awesome.
And I'm gonna strap on my rig. I got this rig I call the one man band. It's got a camera on the shoulder and on the hat and all that stuff.
Awesome,
And
man.
I'm gonna go marching through the forest and see if I can find some stuff.
Yeah, oh, that's awesome. I hope you catch some stuff, man. That's
Me too.
awesome.
Me too.
That would be
Um,
cool.
yeah, I gotta see if JJ can join me on that.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would love to come out there one day,
Oh,
and
you're more than welcome, dude.
that's a dream. No, thank you very much, man. That's a dream to go out to America and look for the Bigfoot. That's a goal one day.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's yeah. We have there's a Bigfoot museum next, not pretty close to where I'm going to be hunting. And no, not hunting, hunting
Yeah,
with the
yeah, yeah.
with eyes. um, and that guy literally, he has this gigantic map on the wall. He's been featured on the I think it was called Hunting Bigfoot with the BFRO
Okay.
guys,
Yeah.
and they visited his little museum, and he has this huge map on the wall of the entire area. and there's all these little pins stuck in the wall where people have seen the Bigfoot.
Awesome.
It's
Awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk to him, and then I'm gonna go on the hunt. See if
Awesome,
we can
man.
catch something. And
I hope you get something, man.
oh, me too. I'm stoked. I'm gonna freak out. There's one. There's one. Now,
we need
yeah,
another Patterson Gimlin
yeah,
video.
that would be awesome.
Yes.
Now let's talk about another phenomenon I've been seeing mostly on Instagram. Couple of YouTube things, but people that are looking for at least Bigfoot or hearing something anomalous, and these things bust out of the thing, and they are not the typical Bigfoot. They kind of look like what some people describe as the rake with the big claws and everything. Come charging out of the forest, galloping after them. These dudes run like hell. They are legitimately scared.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
I've seen that video. Yeah, I think I shared that video because that's terrifying.
Oh, that was your share, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I shared that.
That was horrible.
Sometimes I'll see stuff on Instagram and like, I don't know if it's definitely real, but I'm sharing it because it's cool and it's interesting. But would you say that video is possibly legit?
I mean, I have to take a closer look at it and really analyze it. But at first blush, that is definitely something coming after that dude.
Yeah,
because his reaction alone, and if I turn the sound off, I do that every time I watch a video. I turn off the sound so I'm not distracted. The speed at which the thing moved out of the forest, it leapt over that log. Okay.
Yeah.
And man, that thing was lanky and tall. It cleared that log like a long jumper, or like a sprinter, who what's that? The people who run, they jump over things. What's that called?
Oh man.
They have this series of things that jump over in the Olympics.
Yeah. What is that called?
Those guys.
Oh man. Yeah, I know what you mean.
No names here. The things.
What is that called? Yeah.
It'll come to us in a second.
When we start recording, it'll come. It's always the way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he clears that log like a jumper, right?
Yeah. It's an incredible video.
And he goes charging after the dude, and the dude, the way he reacts was the step and turn, and he didn't care if he caught that thing on tape. So it was like the one step back and then the turn, and that's where the video cuts off. But I would hope he'd get some distance, feel a little bit safe, and turn around. But I guess that didn't happen. But the way the thing moved, it moved pretty naturally from what I could tell. The gait was right, the speed. I mean, it had, I think, the leaves cleared out of the way when he stepped on them. Not cleared out of the way. I'm sorry. When you step in ivy, for example, there's rustling. And when you pull out, I think a couple of leaves went flying. So if that was fake, someone did a very good job, or it was a dude in a costume, maybe. But the way that thing was shaped, it was
just it's a weird shape. It was super quick.
Yeah.
If that is just a man that's far, I mean, I don't know, but it's very it's a very interesting video.
There's a wisp of people out there. I've seen them for myself, but no, not with the caliber this thing was moving. And it appeared to be strangely muscular.
Yes.
For its slight build, it was surprisingly muscular. Especially when it goes over the log. I think I can make out the leg muscles and everything. But
it looked powerful.
Yeah, it did.
I mean, if it was a man, he's a powerful man.
Very very slim, very very tiny. I mean, dude,
that
was just obscenely rail thin individual right there.
Yeah,
it was but it just didn't look human, and the fact that it kind of came out hunched, it was like this even on its run, like the head was forward.
And
versus
the arms were really long as well, weren't they?
yeah, they were long,
I
and
remember.
he kept in with the runner, the whatever this creature was, kept the arms out. Did you
Yeah,
realize that he
yeah,
kept them
yeah,
out? He
yeah,
did a little bit of balance when he went over the log, but he kept them out.
yeah, yeah.
I'd never seen a person run like that before,
No, man, no.
unless they
That wasn't
were.
a natural
Yeah,
run that we would,
I've
recognize.
only seen something similar to that when back in the old days where it was shield and sword, you know, and
Yeah,
reenactors do that all the time just because that's how the human body moves. But he had nothing in his hands. He just had his hands out like this.
yeah. It's
So,
interesting, man. Terrifying. I don't know how I'd feel about that.
oh man, yeah, good times. Or oh, do you remember that rake? It was an actual rake video. They just, I think it was one of the first ones that they're in the. It's in Oregon, I think, north of here, well north of here, and they're in the backyard, and I hear something rustling around back there, and they open the door, and the guy, the thing comes crawling after him.
I
It's an
probably
old,
have seen.
yeah, it's an older video,
Yeah,
but it was shot on his old janky cell phone or whatever.
yeah, yeah,
And that one I just missed because in the slowdown, you could see. Granted, even the skinnier, more in shape people have skin that gathers when they
yeah,
crawl, but this was definitely a costume because you could see
yeah.
the material gather at the hips. And there was another guy, your neck of the woods. He was investigating, and this might be in one of the creepy pasta things, but he was investigating this abandoned house, and there was an upstairs attic to it. And the guy, I'm super afraid, I'm super scared. And it's obviously people in masks, man. And there's one dude, and it looks like the mask doesn't quite fit him right because it's kind of, it's supposed to be this skeletal outline.
Yeah.
And have you seen this?
I don't know if I don't.
Okay. But he pops out of the
Possibly.
attic, like, and he comes up like this, like he's Dracula or something, but he hangs there. He's standing on the ladder, apparently. And he
Yeah.
hangs there for a second. He's poised, and the camera guy drops his flashlight and his camera. Oh, I dropped my flashlight.
Yeah.
He gets it back up again, and the guy's gone. It's like,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what solidified it for me, I mean, I was already suspicious because the mask was off kilter and everything. But what solidified it for me is where he goes back downstairs and he's still exploring this place. And another one of these creatures, and they got claws. They kind of look like a black version of a rake. But it was someone in a body stock, and it was obvious, the mask and everything. And the funny thing about the second person, very shapely woman, she was in excellent shape, and it was very hard to miss her feminine attributes.
Yeah.
It was not to be a chauvinist, but it was pretty obvious to me. It's like, that's a woman. That's a female right there. And you could almost make out a zipper or something right here in the casting of the light. And then he drops the flashlight again.
Yeah.
Whoops. Picks it up and the creature's gone. But
yeah, man. There's
he
a lot of
he tried real hard to make it look.
yeah.
And the funny thing is, he actually got it on. What's a show out here? Paranormal Caught on Tape.
Oh, really? It made it to
Yeah,
that?
Caught on Camera. That's what it is. Paranormal Caught. He actually
Interesting.
got it on there. It's like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
Really?
Because I watched that show. I love that show. I find
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
fascinating because
I'm pretty sure he was on that. It could have been
most of the
just a
stuff
creepy.
they put on there seems to be pretty legit, I would say.
I mean, I've
to...
caught him. I've caught him a couple of times. Going,
oh, really?
Yeah. Like there was one where. Sorry to keep you, dude. Do you got to
man,
go?
no, listen, no, I've got all night, man. No problem at all.
So it's set, I think, in the Philippines. A lot of their stuff is set in the Philippines. But some dude is playing guitar at night, and he's got someone next to him, they're listening, and I guess there's a kid there too. And
Yeah.
there's this little troll-like creature, and I forget the name of the creature in their folklore, in Philippine folklore, pops in the camera, and they don't see him. And then he does this weird hide behind move where he disappears behind the kid, narrow little kid. This thing would not be able to hide behind a kid. And then he
Yeah.
pops out again. And then he's he's suddenly on the wall next to the guy playing guitar, and there's someone with a cell phone freaking out. The guy's there, the guy's there. But the thing is, you can actually see some of the pixelation, and the movement was a little unnatural and all that fun stuff. So,
yeah.
and there was another one, I think, in Manila, where you saw the half a person, like the lower half of a person, run down the street. Nobody screams. Nobody reacts. Oh yeah, it's half a guy running down the street. Look at that. That was obviously a camera trick.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the shadow, you can see the whole person.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there that
sometimes they get taken for a ride, or maybe they make the decision that's entertaining. Why not? We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
But, I think the one that freaked me out the most was in a couple states north of me in Washington State. There's this, I'm not sure where. I want to say it's at the edge of a major city like Seattle or Portland. And there's this bridge, train trestle. And for some reason, there's this homeless guy camped on this next to this strut that's supporting the bridge that is in the middle of a river. I don't know how he got there. That's where he lives. And he starts yelling. Some dude's videotaping his girlfriend, and he swings over to the guy yelling. And the guy's going, oh my God, look at that, look at that, look at that. He's pointing up. And the guy originally goes to the sky, and he's, what's he looking at? And then as he brings it back down, you see, and if I had to guess at what type of creature this was close to, I'd say it was a bat or a flying squirrel. But whatever it was the size of a bear. And it was crawling under like this.
Wow.
Under the bridge towards this dude, and that's where the film cuts out. No. No.
And that was legit. Like you would say that was legit.
If that was fake, someone did a very, very good job, because there was zero pixelation. The movement was inhuman, and the size of this thing was bizarre. And the way it was textured, you can make out legs, but it looks like they're underneath giant wings. So the thing was like a bat or something crawling upside down along this trellis.
Wow.
I
need to see that one as well. I don't think I've seen that. I need to see that.
That one was on Paranormal Colin camera.
Interesting. It's an interesting show, man. I love that show.
Yeah, it is.
There's a lot.
I love it. It's good stuff.
That's what I mean. So after, because obviously we're doing these shows, we're editing the shows, we're talking to guests. You'd think we wouldn't want to watch any paranormal stuff, but that's what I put on straight after. Like after talking to you, I'll probably put that on and watch something freaky like that. You know, it's just constant.
It just comes down to it. Well, it's interesting to see what other people capture. It's interesting to see, one, if it's legit, and two, if you can disprove it, and three, if you can't disprove it, what did you see? I mean, is this another something to file into this category or that category? So that's why I watch them.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
Oh, it's amazing stuff. It really is.
I had another experience in this house that I'm in now. We was all having dinner one night. The kids, my wife, we were all just sitting there, and it wasn't hot, so all the windows, all the doors were shut, and we're all just eating and talking and having fun. All of a sudden, I saw a black cat run past me, and I've jumped out my skin. I've gone, there's a cat in the house, and I was, but it really scared me because I was just shocked to see it. But and definitely a cat run past me. I saw it, and we're all like, "What? There's a cat." We're looking all around the house, going in every room, checking all the windows.
Yeah.
There wasn't a cat in the house.
Oh no.
And, yeah, I mean, I've got a dog now, but I didn't have the dog at the time.
Right.
It was before the dog.
Gotcha.
So that was weird. That was, and that
Yeah.
was at the start of the podcast journey as well.
Oh, interesting.
So I sort of think, do you invite these things in when you look into the subject?
Possibly. That's possible. It's interesting when during my hunt for a cleaner, as we talked about on your show, before JJ came on board, Henry and I, my partner in I sound like I'm 89 years old. And my partner in Scary, we interviewed like 5-6 psychics trying to lock down the cleaner, and we were having zero luck. But at every single one of these locations, various houses throughout my hometown, I always saw black animals. It was bizarre too. And I don't mean a crow. I don't mean a raven, that are black anyway. I saw black mice. Rarely see black mice. I saw black squirrels for the first time. They weren't in my neck of the woods until much later, but black squirrels running around. And was it a rabbit or a hare maybe?
Interesting.
Yeah, something like that. And animals in general, like domestic animals like cats and dogs and stuff, seem to always stare right at us. It's like, yeah, what what are you doing? I was like, what do what's this animal locking onto that I can't see? And it was just a weird experience over that week or two that we were doing these interviews, basically, because we tested them. I was like, what kind of psychic are you? Are you going to be able to read my thoughts, or are you going to feel my emotions? Or, I just try to figure out where their power truly lies. But it was always weird black animals running around in the wild, mice, and like I said, mice and hares and bizarre things. Bizarre. Yeah. Oh, hedgehog. I saw a black hedgehog. Never seen a black hedgehog in my not a hedgehog. Prairie dog. Sorry, the ones that come out of the ground. Black.
Yeah.
Interesting. They don't come in black.
Yeah.
Mice do, but I've never seen them out here. If they're a natural occurrence in the wild, it's the first, usually brown or white.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was a bizarre experience. And Henry, being the skeptic, says, yeah, I didn't see it. He just wasn't paying attention. He has head burying in his notes, and he was just doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. He says, I'll note that. He made a note in the margins. It's like, okay, Tim saw black. But it was just a bizarre experience. But when we got a hold of JJ, that stopped.
Interesting. Yeah.
It was bizarre. It was very bizarre.
It seems like you was all brought together.
Yeah. Talking about a cosmic or something.
Meant to be. Meant to be.
Something in the universe, God, Yahweh, whatever you want to believe. Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Very powerful. I'm not sure how I got on that. Oh, we were talking about the black cat, and that led me.
Yeah.
That's a creepy thing, but there's a cat.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And it scared the crap out of me. Like, I was like, oh, I proper jumped when I saw it.
Oh, yeah, I bet you did.
And I just thought there was a cat in the house. So we all searched through the house to find this cat, and it wasn't there. There was no windows open.
Wow.
So I saw something though.
Yeah, man. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing would make you jump if you didn't.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think all the things that I've seen, the weird stuff, and that really, like, I jumped like big time. My wife was like, "You're right." I said, "No, just seen a cat."
And it almost sounds silly to say it out loud now, but
Yeah.
if it walks up, I mean, it's there. I've been there, man. I've been there.
Yeah.
Phantom things walk up on me too. It's especially in this business.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So, I know what you're talking about. The biggest thing was the demon monkey that did I tell you, you know about that story, right? The demon monkey. It was on the show a couple of times. It was on Eric's show too.
I must have, yeah, I've definitely heard it then. Yeah.
Yeah, no?
I must have done, yeah.
Oh,
'Cause
okay.
I listened to you on Eric's show. Yeah, I've heard it. I've definitely heard it.
Well, that was yeah. Everybody heard it, and me and one other person saw it, and I had the camera pointed right at it, didn't show up. Didn't show up. I was so angry.
Yeah. So you could see it. You could still see it with the camera, but the camera wasn't picking it up.
No. Not the camera. I didn't have the frame open. I had you could turn it and close it so it wouldn't interfere. Oh no, I checked that. I did have it open, but as it ran past, I just followed it. I had my eyes on it, but the camera was down here. I didn't look at the screen.
Yeah,
On playback, it didn't show up.
Oh man,
it didn't show up.
It's interesting though.
Angry.
It's interesting though, because it makes you think. Can you just, because we all spend so much time trying to capture this stuff,
right?
Maybe some things you just can't capture on the camera. You know,
not in
maybe there is
anyway.
Yeah.
There's the newer full spectrum cameras that go UV and infrared.
Yeah,
which is, I don't know. I've seen some interesting things captured on that, but even then, I've seen other investigators have a similar experience to mine. It's like, oh my God, look at that. And nothing's on camera.
That's interesting.
It is weird. It's like it's out of phase or something with our reality.
Yeah.
Here, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Paranormal Insight. My name is Tim Sudano, and tonight we've been talking with Tommy Cullum. And Tommy, I want you to tell them where they can find you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me on the show, man. It's been an absolute honor. You can find me on all the social media outlets: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, at TC Let's Get Freaky podcast. We're on all the podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're on all of them pretty much, I think. Let's Get Freaky. We put 2 shows out a week. If you've had any experiences, we'd love to talk to you. And yeah, thank you very much, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
The pleasure was mine, and I'm sure the audience will have a great time with this episode as well. So don't forget to watch his stuff. He has great guests on and great topics, and he's a very good interviewer. So let's get freaky.com. Don't forget, or .com?
No, we haven't. No, not yet. No,
not yet. Okay, so let's get freaky on Instagram and pretty much everywhere else.
That's it. Yeah.
And so I'm sorry. Briefly, do you have a YouTube channel or no?
We do. We have got a YouTube channel. It's something I'm going to start doing a lot more of. But basically, every episode is on the podcast platforms. But there is some episodes on YouTube, but it's something I need to do more of. So I'm going to start putting some more on YouTube.
Okay.
So head over to Let's Get Freaky on YouTube, and
exactly.
There will be more coming.
Absolutely. We'll have all that stuff in the description for you folks. So once again, thank you, Tommy, and thank you out there in YouTube land and pretty much everywhere else. I'm similar to you, Tommy. I'm everywhere.
Yeah, that's it.
That's the way to do it. Thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time on Paranormal Insight.